Hey guys, this is Nix King,
And me, the guy that's sitting underneath your car.
and this is Smoke and Revelations.
Two friends
One topic.
and a big fat bowl.
Now,
Now,
let's
let's see
see where
where
the
the
smoke
smoke
takes
takes
us.
us. Yeah. So, hey, hi. Hey, hi, hi. How are you doing?
I'm fantabulous.
How was the strawberry?
The strawberry was delicious.
Lovely. Is that the first time that you've smoked out of a strawberry?
I can say yes to that, truly, the first time.
Interesting. It was my first time too. That's so crazy. That makes me think of a topic.
What's that? Big Buns 2009?
That close. You're so close. First times.
Ooh, ooh.
Ooh. You
Yeah.
know, like of whatever variety pops in your head first. What do you initially think of when I say first time?
Um, Losing at life.
Yeah, that's interesting to
taking
me.
taking algebra in college and in
Ugh.
high school. And yep, one of them I took 5 times, and not because I flunked. I just gave up halfway through each semester, and I said, we're done with this course.
Okay, okay.
So I guess yeah, technically I did fail, but whatever. But what about you?
Um, I guess initially it makes me think like first memory, kind of like it kind of makes me think of like what is the first thing I can remember? What's as far back as I can first time think of? Like my my mom told me that her sister said that she remembered being born, and I cannot possibly imagine remembering being born.
Probably.
For me, I'm not saying nobody can, but like that's crazy to me. Hello, strawberry.
It's delicious, juicy. Some would say. And if you're wondering why I'm having that asking, asking, asking.
What are you trying to say? Say? Asking? Tell
Cat.
me. I don't know how to help.
Neither do I. No, I could never imagine being born, but I was told that like when I was born, um, I didn't cry. I made just like a little sound, and then I looked around the room at everyone like, "Who the fuck are they?"
Uh
And I
huh.
feel like I'm that way to this day.
Still.
Yeah,
So you're the same as when you were.
coming out
You
traumatized.
you've always had the same energy.
Been traumatized since the moment I was born.
Yes, it's giving trauma. Trauma. That's
It's the trauma for me,
it's the
baby.
trauma. It'll get you. I can't even think of what my very first memory is for real. Like,
Really?
I mean, I can remember a lot of stuff from my childhood,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember a lot of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a lot of crazy shit too, and some of it's bad, but some of it's just crazy and da da da. But like, as according to my mom, because I told her this memory I had of me in the back seat of the car driving to Texas to visit my uncle. And she said I was in a car seat. So that's probably my first memory.
Mine is of my parents flipping a mattress. I know
Yeah,
that's very weird, but
that's
flipping a
so.
mattress.
I mean, I need some more details, please.
That's all the details I had. And my second is probably being surprised at how my sister was born. Like she was born like a normal baby, but my 2-year-old mind couldn't comprehend completely of her being in my mom's stomach. And then they'd be like, "Are you ready to see the baby?" And pointing over to the side. And for me, in my 2-year-old mind, it was a magic trick.
Okay.
It was like, "Oh, there's a baby. What? Look over. Oh my God, there's a baby. How do they do that?"
They got a baby out of thin air.
It's magic witchcraft.
Was
Burn
there-
them at the stakes.
Was there a top hat in the room? Maybe they pulled it out of a top hat.
No. I wish, but
Did she spread her legs and there was a top hat?
What?
I
I
don't
wasn't
know.
there for the
I'm
birth.
thinking of birth.
I wasn't there. I was just brought to the hospital. I remember my cousin.
Well, my
driving
aunt was
us.
there and she remembers it vividly, okay? It's like a canal and she came out of it and somebody picked her up and they slapped her behind, her little baby tushy. And then she cried. And then they probably put her in a bassinet. I don't know the story. I didn't hear it. My mom just told me like that she said she remembered being born. I don't know any details.
And then you came up with this whole
Yeah,
dramatic.
I just did that.
And I'm like, oh, how was the canal? What did it look like? I'm thinking of all of this. You
Yeah.
made it up.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to make that engaging. I wanted that to be more interesting because I didn't know any details, so I put some in. Success. What is your first, what's the first time you remember feeling successful or feeling like a success?
I don't know if I ever did. Or ever. I don't think so. I mean, there is a sense of accomplishment,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as like being success or successful, not at all.
But I mean, not even like that party was a success. No.
No.
Interesting.
No, nothing I've done or ever have in my entire life has been a success. In my mind, which is just because of how necessarily I grew up with a parent who always second guessed everything you did. I could be
Right.
like, I did turn off the iron because we would have to. My mom would get up, my sis, and wake me up. Then I get my sister up and I get her ready for school, and we would go to school together. We're only 2 years apart. But my mom had me like when she would question me about what I turned off and stuff. When I got home later that day, it got to the point where like I didn't believe I did it. And I was so confused. And I would literally walk me and my sister all the way to school. I was 10. And I would turn around after I dropped her off and go back home because I didn't believe if I really like turned the iron off. And if I really believed that I locked the door. Because my mom, it's like, yes, of course you question your children, see what their thought process is. But my mom questioned me about everything. And she made me doubt myself immensely. So
Right.
success is, for me, I can always be better. I can always do things better or more brilliant or whatever it may be, even when I know that, I act and I write and stuff like that. Even when the audience is applauding, or somebody comes up to me afterwards, or even maybe like a year later saying, "Oh, I saw you in this and you were great." I mean, I know I'm glad that they liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, all I think about is everything I didn't do right and how I could have taken it to another level. So it's very hard for me to think of myself as successful or of having a success.
So not even like that show was a success that I was in. Even if you're not necessarily you can't even take pride in like a team effort way at least.
I don't think of myself as the team, part of the team. I think of myself as everybody else is the team, and I'm just glad I didn't drag anybody down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, the show was amazing. Everybody did so great. And I would go down the line. But when it came to myself, like, I'll be like, And it's not that I don't think I am good or capable.
Mm-hmm.
I can always be better. And I feel like there's always that one thing that keeps it, which is dumb because if I keep thinking like this, I'll never find it. But one thing keeps it from being good to great, or great into amazing, or fantastic, or extraordinary, whatever it may be. I'm always hard on myself. And with every show that I do, and more people who have seen me act or seen shows that I've done, the more stressed and the less proud, not proud, I shouldn't say proud, the less I feel something, I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to describe, but something from it. It's just the more it's like, okay, I did great. Yeah, but that was great for old Nicks. What about this? You could have done this and would have been something different. Like you're only as good as your last project, in a sense. But then there's also like I truly believe when I started writing and stuff, I wrote this poem when I was 11. It was 2 pages long, and apparently it was really deep.
Yeah, come on,
It
two
was
pages long.
right, single space. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? I know.
oh,
I didn't
she
think
had
about
a
it.
lot to say.
And it was titled "The Pain Inside." That was the I was in 6th grade. It was called "The Pain Inside," and I remember it started like the pain I feel deep inside comes from the lonely pain I feel outside. Being separated from everyone else feels like I've been something. Feels like something with a nest. I don't know. I can't remember it now, but like
Well,
past
you
that
got a
part.
whole other page, single space to tell me, so you better figure it out.
I should. But I can't remember. It was way back
But
when.
so do you feel that way about other people then? Like, can other people be a success and successful, or do they need to push hard? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you can give that grace
To
to
others, why
others,
not
why is
yourself?
it harder, you think, for yourself? I mean,
Because literally, that's the stem of it. I was never whatever I did was never enough
mhm,
or then some. Like it was never like, oh, she went above and beyond, or oh, she did enough. It was never those things. I feel like from school to work to my parents, like I get overlooked for a lot. And so in life, I subconsciously stop trying to succeed
mhm,
because that comes with all that pressure I was talking about earlier. It's the pressure of will I be good enough this time? Will I be good enough this time? What if I say I'm good enough, but it's a lie and everybody's gonna find out I'm not good enough this time. So with that and everything I do from my job to my probably relationships in some aspect. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a great friend now. I will tell you that. I'm a great
absolutely.
friend.
Listen, I already knew
Yeah.
all that. I mean, I know you're
Yeah.
also telling other people that you
Yeah.
are a
Yeah.
good friend.
And that maybe that's it. Maybe that's the one thing I can say I take pride in. But then at the same time, I still feel like I can be a good friend, but maybe I'll never receive that, which is not true, but that's how I used to think. And then
Right.
once I found those people like yourself and D Dare and my other best friends, it became, oh wow, this is my family. This is for these individuals. I am enough. I've never had to be somebody who did tricks or somebody who was just there because you needed a human being there. I have been their friend
Yeah.
where people literally have me around because they just don't want to be alone. And I've taken that too in, relationships and whether they be sexual or not. That's kind of how I am. And so, most of the world I think thinks I'm dumb or stupid or I couldn't do certain things, but I've played the part of not being smart for so long I've forgotten that it's a role.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because so much of how we socialize
Mm-hmm.
is basically what we want to be perceived as, how we think we are perceived, and then
Mm-hmm.
kind of how we're told
Mm-hmm.
we're perceived.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think a big part of a voice that you hear is also the shit from your childhood
Mm-hmm.
of this isn't good enough and this isn't, because who doesn't remember those kinds of events, especially when they're more traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
So to already feel alone and then essentially be overlooked in stating that just makes it feel more lonely, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that doesn't that also come from a place of like how you self talk because of what has happened when you were a kid?
Yeah, I think the voice that I hear is not my own. The voice I hear is my mother. Anything that I hear that is negative is my mom. And I've come to start to realize that this year. I've been in therapy for a couple years now, and it's starting to click that
Yes.
a lot of my behavior that I've accepted from others, the behavior I've accepted from others, comes from how my parents treated me. So, like, even with my pops or whatever, my dad, I love my dad to bits and pieces. He loves me. But, of course, no parent is perfect, but also
You
how I
can say that again.
how I grew up with my mom having we were mainly with her. She was the main parent or whatever, had full custody. And my parents did get divorced, and thank God they did. I'm one of the very few who is happy that their parents are divorced
Amen. I
because
am. My
they
parents were horrible together.
are nicer apart, and that says a lot, at least about my mom.
And my dad is good dead. Good for him. Yay.
Ew, oh my gosh.
Carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on.
But nothing I did was enough, but also it also felt like I wasn't enough for someone to make the right choices. I wasn't enough for someone to fight harder. I wasn't enough for someone to stick around and stay even when things get ugly. I wasn't enough to leave individuals who treated you better and stay with someone who truly believed that you can do anything and that you were a wonderful and beautiful person. I've learned to I at one time learned to accept that. So friendships, they were weird for me. I mean, my friend that I've known since I was in my teens, it wasn't until I was about 26 that I realized she was going to stick around. And right, right. And that is with her living several states away. But I always viewed friendships and any sort of relationship that I had with anyone as being very temporary. Everything's temporary. If I saw you tomorrow and I was like, "Hey," and you ignored me, I would have back then been like, "Oh, okay," because I had shitty friendships who it
Yeah,
was like,
that's
"Okay,"
crazy.
but like that's literally how everything is. I
Yeah.
just view everything as temporary. It's very hard for me to attach myself to others, not in the sense of like I don't want what's best for a person or humanity, but I mean like connect person to person, soul to
Mm-hmm.
soul. It's very hard for me to do. But again, how I've viewed everything is it's temporary. These people only want me for a moment. I'm feeling some sort of void or need or affection that they're missing, and that's what I learned
Yeah.
from my parents is that I was there. I'm there to help you wipe your tears, or there to help you, feel better in yourself, believe in yourself, whatever it may be. But you can just simply be there for me. I
Yeah.
didn't ask. I learned a long time ago in life to not ask for things. I do not ask. It comes with it comes with regret. Asking for something, I'm going to hear you talk about how I'm always needing something, even if it's freaking medication. Asking for something is me being a burden to you, and you being like, oh, I guess I should probably do this because you look good to everybody else. But what I got was I guess. Well, other
Right.
people was like, she asked, and I had to make sure my baby was going to attend. No. So I stopped asking for things probably around 6 or 7. That's when I stopped asking for things. Probably even before, honestly. I do have a memory
Yeah.
of being 5 in the car, and I'm trying to tell my parents, I'm in the back seat with my sister. I'm trying to tell my parents the traumatic thing that had happened to me. And it isn't even the one that's here in Missouri. It's the one we were back in, like, where I'm from originally, which is Baltimore. Um, I remember trying to tell my parents what happened, and no one listened. I learned very young, about 4 years old, no, 5 years old, after that, after trying to tell them that the only time I'm heard is if I'm loud. But also in the society, I don't want to be a loud black woman. So then it goes from me being really quiet and me really meek and me just being like, okay, 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 to me snapping, because those are the only two mediums that I've ever
Yeah.
had. But no, my parents ignored me. I was always ignored. And so even when I
Really?
went to school, somebody said, "Oh my God, I was wondering who that was when they called your name." And then I was like, "Who the heck is that?" I looked up in the corner and I saw you. Basically, and I had been there for probably seven
What?
months. And they were like, "Welcome to the," and you know what? You're not ugly. Welcome to the beautiful people club.
What? So when is the first time you remember letting your guard down to have a friendship? Because it was pretty
Um,
easy for us. I mean, of course, it's just like a vibe when it's a vibe, but still, like,
I would like to say it's with my best friends that I've known for years, and a part of me did let something down, and that was because I saw how I did not have to perform for them.
yeah,
I could just simply be, and me existing was enough that I mattered. I want to say it's with those two friendships, but as far as being as open as I am today, the very first person was D Dare Bionic.
yes.
It was when we actually were doing that show together, Spectrum.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
That was the very first time that I had ever let a friend see me cry. Ever.
yeah.
Ever. And I've known my best friend since I was 16, my other one since I was 19. I
There's no crying in baseball.
Well, it's just not something that I did. I complained about my problems, I complained about my grief, but I didn't really cry. And if they
Yeah,
did hear a little bit of sadness, I'm like, I'm okay. But to cry, DJ Bionic. But also, he was the very first person that I ever felt physically safe around, because I didn't grow up with safety either. I grew up with having
yeah,
to be on my guard 24/7. So I think being able to feel physically safe, it allowed me to be vulnerable.
yeah.
That
That
makes any
make yeah.
sense.
No, that makes complete. I actually really resonate with that too. Like I've well, when I was younger, I was a bit like cutesy,
Mm-hmm.
sillier, and as I've gotten older, I've gotten more like he, but also fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
So you know,
We love them both.
yes, and I have absolutely leaned into it as I have gotten a bit older than 30, but not much.
Mm-mm. Like a day.
Yeah. So I'm 32. Um just the other day. But I didn't necessarily not connect with people as a kid, but I was putting on this like silly happy front.
Mm-hmm.
So I also didn't feel connected cuz I too wouldn't. myself connect.
Mm-hmm.
But I also was always so like sad and wearing all black and sleeping in a coffin because I was like, nobody loves me or gets me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like for me, the first time I remember having a friend is really like preschool. Like,
Mm.
so it's weird because like I always kind of have actually had my guard down. I've just gotten like sassier with age
Mm-hmm.
because I'm also quick to cut you off if you're a bad person,
Mm-hmm.
or if it's, but typically I just not necessarily trust people. I don't know. I like to see who people are. I like to let them just be who they're gonna be without me intervening in any way or
Yeah.
so that's also why I don't connect. Because so much of what I project is this like thing that I have kind of imposed on myself that I feel like people want from me. And
Mm.
it's kind of easy and it's like go to.
Mm-hmm.
But that also is like the first reaction for me. Like my first reaction is to like listen and kind of say what I need to say
Mm-hmm.
the right way by
Mm-hmm.
like I don't
You do it in the way that they hear it. They can hear the message.
know. Yeah. And then that makes me think of like what's the first movie you saw that you felt like really connected with or even the first movie you remember watching or
Uh,
seeing.
Hmm. I mean, I grew up in the Disney era, so there was tons of it, but it actually wasn't. Oh, I was over here one time and I asked you about the people who did those videos, and you and Dee told me the title. Like, oh, this is this such and such company. I cannot, maybe John something. But it was like
Okay.
fairy tales, but it came with like a book club a month. That's what my mom told me. They were like VHSs. So it had like Cinderella and Puss in Boots and it's like really old
Oh, Fairy
80s.
Tale Theater.
Is that them?
Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater, right?
Puss in Boots, they had a girl fall down a well.
Uh huh.
Yeah,
Uh huh.
yeah, I think that's it. Um, those were my favorite, and I could never describe it to someone, but that's my first.
Oh my
Like Disney,
gosh.
yeah, Disney existed before Disney was really burned into my retina. It was those movies, and I used to watch them over and over again as a kid. And I love the different fairy tales, stories, and actually movies are huge for me and my dad.
Yeah.
So for my whole life, the only way I saw or connected with people was via a story being told, whether that's reading or seeing a piece of
Mm-hmm.
art. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only way. And I'm not talking about drawings because I can't draw, and I just be like, oh, that's symmetrical or not. But yeah.
Or not.
But what about
But
you?
it
What's
doesn't have to be symmetrical.
But that's what be getting me. I'd be like, oh, so I'm supposed to feel something. I don't feel nothing. I feel like it's not even, and it's bothering me.
I mean,
Fix
I get
it,
it.
Jesus.
I
Fix
get
it. But when was your first movie?
it. See, it's really difficult for me to think of my childhood and think of any other movie than The Wizard of Oz.
Him and this
And and Night of the Living Dead.
I've never seen it.
I watched The Wizard of Oz on an endless loop on VHS, and I recorded Night of the Living Dead on a VHS and watched it probably just as often.
And that honestly sums up your personality in a nutshell. It is literally both of those things
It really kind
smashed
of is.
together.
So isn't it funny? Like
Yeah.
you and your first memory of you being like, oh, I'm still the same. Well, I'm still the same. Like,
Yeah.
I was watching fairy tales
Hmm.
and zombies.
And mine is action movies, and I still watch those to this day.
Listen,
You
I
said stab in the
love.
ear with a knife. Come on, Expendables.
Have you seen The Long Kiss Goodnight with
No.
Gina Davis?
Oh, is it an old movie?
What do you mean old?
Is it black and white?
No, Gina Davis from A
Oh,
League of Their Own.
I don't. Thelma and Louise.
Yes.
Yes.
Now I
Oh,
have
I
to
think
know.
I have, but back when I was watching movies, if you weren't going to a movie theater, my parents didn't buy VHS. We watched them on our local TV station here, which means that there are chunks of the movie missing.
Okay.
So I can only know so much because I haven't gone back to watch any of it.
Well, The Long Kiss Goodnight is an action film from 1996 because Gina Davis is not from the black and white era.
I'm sorry.
But not only is it Gina Davis, her co star is Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
And it is.
You should have started with the black character. That's who we remember for sure in the household.
True. True.
Not that I don't know who she is, but her by herself, I'm like, okay, there's only a handful of movies that this. But Samuel, of course we know Shaft.
Okay, of course we know Shaft. I hadn't thought of which year it was for sure, but I knew the first time I saw it, I didn't really I guess, understand or appreciate it very much. I was like 13 when it came out. But I also loved Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill when it came out, and I was 12. And I was like, are you thinking of me when you fuck her? And I was 12. And my mom was like, you're silly. What are you listening to?
I mean, you grew up on R&B. Wasn't nothing appropriate about it.
That's true.
Not a darn. Well, there's a few, but so
there's some.
There's stuff like that doesn't even fake. That saying the actual F word, yes, but we also have you can do it. Put your back into it. You know what I'm saying?
Which
before Nelly became and did Tip Drill. And I was 12 for that. So, I definitely know what you're talking about as far as that. But man, I think my mom chose what we listened to up until I got my first friend in Missouri. Not real. She was not a real friend.
She was invisible?
She was a frenemy.
Oh, I love a frenemy origin story.
Yeah, this is my villain arc. But no, yeah. So until then, I listened to whatever my mom was. So that's the old school 70s and 80s, and we wasn't old school to me then, but 90s and early 2000s. And then when I found my first friend, her parents let her do whatever. Her parents were teen parents. Not saying that's an excuse. I'm just saying.
My mom wasn't a teen parent, and my mom was once we got rid of my dad, we didn't kill him. That's not how he died. He died much later. Sadly, we should have killed him. Or edit that out if it's gonna get me sued or something. But nobody's gonna sue me. They're all dead. They're all dead. Fuck them. What was I even saying? I got so passionate about them.
Listening to music.
Oh, crap.
When I was young.
Yeah. I did that thing again.
I just know that we listened to that, and she had me start listening with Britney Spears, and I did know about Backstreet Boys, but that was only because of the Teenage Witch, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Okay. And then she was into NSYNC. That's how we got into NSYNC. And then I got my first B2K. Somebody gave that to me. So up until a certain point in time, I didn't choose the music that was me. But now when we talk about music that was me, once I started having more control, being a teenager and stuff like that, or a pre-tween.
Come on, pre-tween.
Mine was Evanescence, Nickelback, anything with a strong guitar, anything with somebody who was angry, they had something to say, that was my judge. Okay, dark, yeah. Of course, I want it to be dark because the world is a dark, dark place, and all of these people are just sim characters walking around like idiots. Like that's how my mind.
I love that for you.
That's how my mind thought. But like I wasn't
So
as a
then,
black kid. I was an alter before. What is it? Before they came up with alternative emo. I wasn't all the way emo. I wasn't all the way goth. I wasn't all the way whatever it may be. I was just attracted to bits and pieces, and I don't like to be put into a box. So I wasn't committing to no lifestyle.
I mean, you
Don't
don't
get me wrong. I
even.
love myself some vampires, but also like I didn't need to be pale to love them.
So then, what's the first horror movie you remember then? What's your first time?
Um,
Because if did you always like?
we're afraid of them. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've always been afraid of them, but that's because I've had nightmares since I can remember.
yeah, me
Vivid,
too.
strong nightmares.
I loved Freddy, and I would have Freddy nightmares
No,
sometimes.
I mean like it wasn't because of a movie.
Oh
It was.
no, I know, me
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, and then I would still watch the scary stuff and
Oh
still
no,
get.
no. Me and my fragile empathy, mega empath abilities, no. Because for me, and this is what I know it's a good movie or good story or whatever it may be, I'm in the moment and I feel it and I'm living it. And just like with me being on stage, I hope that people are in the moment and feeling it and living it through me, if that makes any sense.
Hmm.
But no, I think the first one I saw was The Sixth Sense, and that's because we were forced to at summer camp by some 14-year-olds. We were forced to watch it.
Well, as an empath, it helps me check out of the horrors of my already horrific mind.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
I am drawn to the beauty of it that to me helps me release this inevitable mortality. It's almost like it's a way of making me look at the truth,
Mm-hmm.
but not in a way that actively or actually scares me. It actually calms me
Mm-hmm.
and helps me understand in a
Mm-hmm.
way that actually does make me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that to say like I wish any harm on anyone, because I
Mm-hmm.
really don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll say some shit and yeah, fuck you and get out of it. But like
Mm-hmm.
I really don't mean nobody no harm. But I'll watch them get hacked up because I know that it's fake.
I hate
I
suspense. That feeling.
yeah.
It's not a feeling I like, and my go-to emotion is anger. So like I think
Mine too, mine
so
too.
I don't know. I remember I probably mentioned in one of these podcasts, but I hated playing hide and seek as a kid.
Oh my god.
Oh, maybe I didn't, but I hated playing hide and seek as a kid because I didn't like the suspense. I don't like the suspense. I would give myself away because I don't have time for that mess of the suspense. And for me, it's because, and I'm maybe realizing it now, it's I already live in a constant state or fight or flight. So then to watch something with the same thing or to be in a situation that's the same thing makes things worse for me because I'm already there. I already don't feel safe in a sense that like I'm never truly at peace even when I'm in my sleep and I'm by myself. I'm never at a state of peace. So when I go to watch a piece of film, as you call it,
Mm-hmm.
I go for that state of peace. Unless it is a theater show and I'm not looking for horror, but I don't mind trauma because I love to see the beauty of whoever it is on stage doing that. But like as like an everyday, no, I go to not feel that suspense. I go so my heartbeat calms down. I go, okay, we're all right. And horror does the opposite. Horror is me over here blessing the whole house. Horror is me not being able to sleep the entire night and every single sound wakes me up, which I have done more than once. Imagine being only 25 and your heart's pounding hard in your chest and you never get sleep. I hate it. And I remember I started muting my TV at night the few times I fell asleep with it on because I hated hearing the Halloween movies come out. Trailers. You played it against my wish. I did not want that.
love all of the Halloween. That's also another one that I always watched a lot. Like I have truly always been into horror and spooky stuff and like I don't know, just there's this humor
Hmm.
slash rush
Hmm.
that's like a elated joy that
Hmm.
I get even more so from like safe Halloween. I
Hmm.
don't only like horror and scary
Hmm.
since the home is mostly Halloween decor all the time. It's not like scary stuff.
Mm-mm. Now
So for me, that
I
would
don't
be
like horror, but I like Halloween like you.
yeah.
I will watch Twitches, okay? I will watch
Oh,
Halloween
Twitches. I've
Town.
seen
I
them.
will watch Don't Look Under the Bed. I will watch all those things, but I don't like horror or definitely not demonic possession. Those two I no. But like dark, like light dark, I do like that. I love all the
Yeah.
Halloween specials. All of that is great, but like actual horror with phrasing it, no, I'm okay. That's okay. I'm I'm a vegan.
And you you like relive trauma by seeing the horror or the scary stuff.
It's not my trauma.
It's just the trauma in it is what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
you feel too much of
It's too,
even
all of it is too much. And the thing for me is, let somebody pop out of nowhere in that plane. I'm gonna hit you in the face, and I mean that. Fight or flight. I will fly until I have to fight.
now listen. I might love spooky. I even was a clown at the haunted house.
Mm-mm. I ain't never been because I ain't got
But
time to get sued.
but I am not a jump out of or sneak up on her because I will punch you in the head. Do not.
I
Do
punched
not.
somebody at work once on accident.
It's not funny to like, yeah, it's just not funny. Now, when
It's-
I was younger,
Mhm.
did I run around with the scream mask on and a butcher knife at my brother's? Yes. But were they playing too? Yes. Everybody was having a good time. And I didn't stab them. I just ran at them with the knife. Once my little brother broke his hand through this little glass window when I was chasing him,
Mhm.
and it like sliced his arm. But I didn't slice his arm with the knife. What's the first time you remember holding a knife?
I don't. I know I used to help my mom cook. Like she'll have us help her a little bit, but not really. But the first like big memory of a knife is not even funny. Well, I guess maybe to somebody, but it's
Oh,
not.
well, it doesn't have to be funny.
Was my mom having to go to the hospital because she slit her wrist, getting me a second Rice Krispie treat.
Oh, God.
And she had took it out of the fridge because she wanted to, I guess, keep it good or whatever. And she went in the pan, the glass.
Oh,
pan.
she didn't mean to.
No.
When I hear slit her wrist, I just heard nothing else, and I was like, "What?
Oh,
Over
no.
a Rice
No, that's
Krispie?"
real trauma. No. She cut it, and when she went to cut it, it slipped on the glass pan, and it cut her wrist.
Oof.
And then I remember just that, and I was so ashamed because I wanted my second Rice Krispie treat. Her blood is all over the kitchen floor, and she has to hold her wrist like this, call the babysitter to come pick us up, and also call for the ambulance at the same time. And ironically enough, we were watching Beauty and the Beast while we were waiting for her to come back. And I've never seen the full thing of Beauty and the Beast until I was 23 years old. So I know. Because in the middle of that, it was like, go. We were like, dang, we're never going to finish this movie.
I need to know this,
Uh-huh.
and I need to know this right now.
Uh-huh.
Did you have a Rice Krispie treat? And was there blood on the Rice Krispie treats?
No.
So did you eat one?
I think I probably ate one the next day.
Oh, covered in blood?
No. I mean, I came from her womb, but that's where it stops. And in there, I was creating my own stuff, you know? I was like, I wanted to be like this, throw up a little, ooh, velvet, you say? Ooh, suede. Yeah, I was doing that in the womb, you know?
Suede. But also, when I think first time, I think of like, what's a movie that I think of where it's like the first time or like something like that. And then I think of Groundhog Day, the movie where Bill Murray keeps reliving the same day. And then that just reminds me of life because I feel like I'm reliving the same day. I have to pee so bad. So, what movies or shows do you think of when you think of like first time or, someone like reliving the same day or going through time or time travel or like is there something that sticks out to you as like teaching you some sort of life lesson about time?
Oh, about time?
Does that make sense? Like the kind of weird train of thought I'm having.
I'm gonna say 'cause I've learned lessons from all of them.
True, very true.
I used to watch this show called Sliders.
Oh, I've heard of that. Doesn't it
Yeah.
have Jerry O'Connell, right?
Yes, him and his little brother. His brother,
Really?
his younger brother's hot too.
Yeah, Jerry O'Connell he was even cute in Stand By Me. I used to love that movie when I was a
know. Yeah, no, his younger brother looks a lot like him, but not quite. But yeah, but
Oh
no.
my god, in River Phoenix, I had such a crush. I did like a book report on River Phoenix because I was so obsessed.
But yeah, no, it was about them. I can't remember everything. I probably should go back and watch it. But them sliding through time. There was this device that allowed them to slide. I shouldn't necessarily say sometimes it was in time, but basically like it allowed them to slide through different dimensions. And each world was another version of their world, but they didn't know the right frequency to get back home. So they kept going through these worlds trying to get back home.
Ooh.
And then also I grew up on Star Trek, so we talk about dimensions that, but as far as time, I don't know that I think dimensions were the closest thing I got to like time. Yeah.
Because I also then think of like Back to the Future.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like so much of what I watched as a kid and what I grew up on was somehow had something to do with like manipulating time or going back in time. Even like the TV shows that I loved and watched would do like flashback episodes.
Yeah.
Or weird, not that that's like the same as time travel, but
was that going back in time always messed up the present.
Yeah.
And the only one that didn't go back in time and mess up the present, unfortunately, and it's real scarring. I was in the 6th grade. It was a slave movie about, I shouldn't say slave movie, but about this kid who went back in time and lived out life as a slave. He was like a 90s kid and not grateful for what he had. And he went back in time and he was living as a slave. He eventually comes back to his time. But
obviously not a white kid, right?
No, it's a black kid. But that's the only time. And when I think of time, that messed me up. I was like, okay, so we couldn't change the future. Oh, because we know it's not right.
Wow. Yeah, no,
that's something I watched in class.
See, that's the first time I remember most first times is usually when it's something traumatic. Or not even necessarily traumatic, like
something that sticks with you. it put an imprint on you or a big moment?
I don't know because there are like some from
Maybe not big, maybe
childhood, but
significant to how you may be now.
some, but to a degree, I really feel like I've kind of blocked out a lot of like bad or negative stuff.
It's a huge part. I had that for a while. I couldn't remember a certain like events and stuff like that happened from the time I was 7 to the time I was 11. Like I remember bits and pieces of those years, but I now know what the thing is that I forgot. But that's
Right.
what your mind does to protect you.
Well, what about good stuff?
Sometimes
Like,
it
do
can
you
be.
remember a
Do
lot of good
I?
stuff? Yeah.
My good stuff starts in my 20s.
Yeah.
Anything before that does not come from joy, it comes from trauma. The best thing I ever had in my life was my little sister, is my little sister. And I wouldn't trade her for the world, but also we survived together,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So, no, for me, everything starts in my 20s. I don't remember, maybe one. One. I remember, and even that is still tangled. But I remember running and hanging upside down on the monkey bars and playing. And I remember after we came here to St. Louis, had another trauma happen to me. I remember being 10. I think when I did that, I was like 5. I remember being 10 and being too afraid to jump down from the monkey bars to the point that my dad had to come and get me because I was hyperventilating.
Oh.
And they were barely taller than me. But fear. But no, I think whatever it is, for me, it was ripped. Joy was ripped early from me in my life, and the most significance of my memories are going to be here in St. Louis, unfortunately. So then that on top of it, I don't remember a lot of stuff from Baltimore, but no,
Right.
overall, joy wasn't a thing that I can remember, at least. And so good things come for me in my 20s.
Yeah, there are so many things that I remember that make me smile or made me happy or brought me joy. Specifically, the first time that we worked together, the first time that we met, those were good.
Yeah.
And that was when I was like, uh, earlier when you said you don't really feel like you've ever been a success,
Mm-hmm.
I have been in shows with you. I have seen you in them. I, from my own two eyes and brain, know for a fact that you have been the best part of many things that you have done, and you are quite a success.
Thank you.
And even though that may be the first time I told you that, it's not the first time that I knew it.
Compliments are insults.
Exactly.
They hurt.
Well, fuck your mom.
Eh.
And on that note,
uh,
what was
this
the revelation today?
then I need to stop being so hard on myself.
Yep. That you, we, the collective we, are a success.
Mm-hmm.
Embrace it,
Mm-hmm.
love it, be it.
And
Because
also
I see it.
the first times doesn't mean necessarily that that's the last time anything will happen eventful. It doesn't always have to be traumatic to stick around.
Yeah.
I don't like this. Next week,
Yeah.
can it be about you? All of you. It's all about you, not me.
You know what?
I didn't ask to be read for filth.
It was just a part of what the assignment was when Strawberry came into our life. Strawberry told me what to do, and I
And that is Smoking Revelations with Nick Kane.
And me. Your mom's best friend.